Hello, welcome to the second lecture in the flow of your cipher techniques. So we started with the substitution cipher in the last video, last lecture. We have done with the Caesar cipher. So Caesar cipher is nothing but whenever I add +3 to the plain text, or whenever I shift one particular letter by 3 letters down the alphabet string, it is Caesar cipher. And we saw Caesar cipher, or in case of substitution cipher, with the help of brute force attacks, it is easy to find out the plain text. So here are some examples. So when I told you the Caesar cipher, you have +3. Sometimes these type of techniques are also called as additive cipher. So see the example which is written here. It says use the additive cipher with key 15 to encrypt the message hello. So you have to first find out, remember, whenever you are doing encryption problems, you will write down from A to Z, you will number them from 0 to 25. So the first thing which you are doing is, for hello you will write down these numbers, and then you will write encryption formula. See the way the problem has been solved. It is, you might be immediately find out the solution, but you should also know what is the way in which it should be written. So h is equal to 07, e is equal to 04, L is equal to 11, L is equal to 11, and the 0 O is 14. So the plain text values has been written first. Then you write encryption formula. So see, these things are very small, but you have to write it in this manner only. So encryption, I'll take plain text plus key mod 26. Remember, mod 26 says that no number should be, whatever I write equal to, that number should be always less than 26. Mod is nothing but mod 26 consists of a set of 0 to 25. So I write 7 plus 15, that will come as 22. So the cipher text is 22, and I will note down from alphabet A to Z where is this 22 number is there. So 22 is W's number. Then I write 19. Then you have T. So then I have the my cipher text as this. So I should ideally write down hello, and it is converted into a cipher text as this. Now one more example where it is written decrypt the message, okay, and the key has been given. So same procedure for this, you will write down the numbers first, what does that particular number indicates, and then you will encrypt, write the formula for decryption. So it is written additive cipher, so in the decryption you should do minus. So you will write 22 minus 15 mod 26, you get value as 07, and then you indicate with H. One more thing where you don't know what is the key. So when the moment you see capital letters, you will should know that encryption has been already done, and it is written that you can use brute force attack to break the cipher. So always try to find out the number first. So you will write down the numbers first, and now in this case what will happen, instead of going for a mathematical formula, or instead of writing for a encryption decryption formula, I will write plain text. Okay, so what does it mean? It is, remember that when you are doing the decryption, you are doing a subtraction, so you are coming one letter uh, behind the in the alphabet string, so one letter back. So when I write key is equal to 1, that means I am saying I will travel one letter back. So instead of U, I will write T. Instead of V, I will write U. Instead of A, because A is the first letter, when I travel back in the wraparound fashion, it will be replaced by Z. So the moment I finish with these three letters, I know it is not making any sense. Okay, so if I want to save my time, I can directly I will go one step ahead, that I will write if the key is equal to 2, then what would have happened. So I write U replaced by two letters back, S, T, and so on. So when I go, if I do 4 letters, I'll come to know that this is not working well. That doesn't mean I will stop there. When you are writing it for exam, you have to finish for all the letters. So when I go for K is equal to 7, you can see here the message is not very secure. Okay, so now when this is written, you can observe one more thing, That way, and when you are going for an encryption, normally the space is not considered as a letter or a separate character. So you will be writing it without space. So here you can declare that k is equal to 7. So we find out that it is not very secure. Now, monoalphabetic ciphers. What we studied is also a monoalphabetic cipher, but we will see what is the difference in this, why the separate heading has been given. In monoalphabetic substitution, the relationship between symbol in the plain text to a symbol in the cipher text is always 1 to 1. So, whenever I say A is replaced by B, that means in the entire alphabet A, in the entire input or in the entire cipher text, A will always map to B. Why it is specified here? Because you will see certain encryption algorithm where there are one to many possibilities are also there. So monoalphabetic cipher is nothing but rather than just shifting the alphabet, you can shuffle the letters arbitrarily. So what do you have? You take a random letter. You don't follow any key as such. So if I say A is replaced by B, somebody will say, okay, the key is +1. No, B can be replaced by D, B can be replaced by Z. So it is a random shuffling order. So hence the key can be 26 letters long. So plain text, if it is A, B, C, D, E, then I will have this kind of random substitution. So now you can check here. A is replaced by D. So I'll say B, C and the third letter. But B is replaced by K. So it doesn't have any, you cannot find out a plus key which will work for every letter because it is randomly shuffled. Plain text again, if we wish to replace the letters, so I will have ciphertext in this manner. So I will be replaced by W, F will be replaced by I, W will be replaced by I. So there is no specific key as such. So what about security? So now you have total 26 factorial keys. So you might be thinking that it is very difficult, or who will be carrying out this procedure. But actually you need not carry out this procedure. This key space might seem a large key space, but if you apply certain logic, this is the particular cipher technique is not so secure. Why? Because we are talking here about English language and you have certain English language characteristics, so you will try to find those characteristics. It is easy to break because they reflect the frequency data of the original alphabet. So what does it mean? In the previous example, as I told you, every W will be replaced by I. So in the entire input, or when I look at the cipher text, the letter frequency of a letter in the input will be equal to the one frequency of the letter in the cipher text also. So suppose in the input there are 3 times W. So while doing the cipher text, this W has been replaced by I. So in the cipher text, I will appear thrice. So the frequency of the letters is not going to change. So what you can do for this? Countermeasures is to provide a multiple substitute for a single letter. So instead, for whenever it is W, I can replace it with IN. Or that way we have to think of increasing the security. So when you have diagram, because we have done this in the comparison, 2-letter combination, the most common is TH, and 3-letter combination is most common THE, the. So human languages are redundant. What do you mean by redundant? There are certain alphabet, there are certain words which comes often. So if I read this, the Lord shepherd shall not want, so some letters are not equally commonly used. For example, in English, E is the far most common letter, and most of our alphabets, most of our word, most of our sentences will have this E. So E is normally followed by T or R or N or I, O, S. So this is the advantage to us, that people have already studied this or already done the research for us, and they are giving us that you can go ahead with this. So other letters, for example, Z, Z, J, K, Q, X are fairly rare. So people have made tables of these letter frequency. People have already made a graph in which you can find out the frequencies of these occurring letters. So just look at this graph which is there on the screen. So you can see here, for every letter the frequency has been calculated. For example, for E it is 12.7. so E is the maximum occurring letter in the English language. Then you have T, which is 9.05, and then you have 8. So what is the significance of this? So I have this with me. So what do I do when I get the ciphertext? If you remember in the previous video where I have shown one more video of a Caesar cipher, there they have mentioned this particular flow, that when you have the ciphertext, you develop a similar frequency graph. Okay, so for every letter you draw the frequency and check which is the most frequent letter. So for example, if we say the most frequent letter in the ciphertext is O. Okay, so in English language the most frequent letter is E. So in the ciphertext you find out the frequent letter is O. So you can say that very confidently, or probably by 80% of surety, that A is replaced by O. Okay, so you go for the second frequency now, find out H is replaced by A. So once you find out the shift for this one particular letter, then you can try implementing that. So this way, if you have knowledge of redundancy, knowledge of English language, you can certainly find out. So let's see the same graph in the tabular format. So the frequency, the letter has been written here, the frequency have been written. So that has been it has been including all the alphabets. Then you have frequency of diagrams, and here, so that the diagrams I've already mentioned. So you can plot the frequencies of 2 letters. You can also plot the frequencies of 3 letters. So this way, normally if you want to break a particular cipher, you can make use of these English language characteristics. So now one example, you can I should have told you at the beginning of the video to sit with a notebook and pen, then you could have paused this particular video and solved the example, but it's okay. Eve has intercepted the following ciphertext. Eve is again our very good friend in the cryptography. So apart from Alice and Bob, we will have Eve also in the scenario always. So using the statistical attack, when I say statistical attack, that is a frequency attack. Okay, statistical attack means you have done certain calculation, you have used mathematical formulas, you have used graph. Okay, so find the plain text. So now when you see this particular text, or when you see this particular cipher text which is written in the capital, first thing is there is no space. This you should always remember. So what do? You find out the frequency of each letter in this cipher text. So you write down what is the frequency, and then you try to map it with the table which is given here for the English language. Okay, so the solution will be, you tabulate the frequency, I is equal to 14, V is equal to 13, and then you replace. Okay, once you do that, then you will say that a particular, you can have this as a plain text. Okay, so you have to see, when I hope this is clear, I is 14, that means the frequency of I is maximum. In English language the frequency of E is maximum. Okay, so it means that E, the key which you get might be a 4. Okay, because from E, if you count F, G, H, and then I is the 4th letter, so you say the mostly the key should be 4, and this is a cipher text. You are going to decrypt the text, so you will come 4 letters back. So this is the plain text which is it. So it requires certain calculation, it requires a lot of patience to sit and crack a particular code. So I hope these things are clear to you, and during the lectures we will try to solve more problems. You can generate your ciphertext and give it to others. We can see how complex ciphertext you can generate, and we can go on with this. So I hope the monoalphabetic cipher, the substitution cipher, the attack on this, it is very clear to you. So we will meet again in the next video.